Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host. This is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. This time I want to talk a little bit about this lady right here, She-Hulk. This particular book is Marvelverse She-Hulk. And it was published in 2021. And I've seen it still available in the comic shops, trade paperback. This particular one is a library edition, and they have laminated the covers to protect them from grubby little hands, I'm sure, probably like mine. And this book reprints several She-Hulk stories, including her very first appearance in She-Hulk #1. It has, and of course, it has several several creators involved in here. It's like so it's the Savage She-Hulk by Stan Lee and John Buscema. Inks by Chick Stone. I said it wrong. Sensational She-Hulk, written and drawn by John Byrne. It has a Spider-Man special with Paul Tobin and Colleen Cover. And that was from 2021, so that was new. The John Byrne one was from 89. Savage She-Hulk was from 1980. Actually 79 from what I understand, but and another Spidey by Catherine and Emonen Stewart. Catherine and Stuart Emonen. Ooh, I said it wrong. And Guardians of the Galaxy team up with John Lehman and Otto Schmidt. If I got some of those names wrong, because I kind of ran out of room, and they were written kind of tiny here. Of course, She-Hulk, Marvelverse. This She-Hulk is a comic book superhero published by Marvel Comics, and she was created by Stan Lee and John Buscema. Debuted in Savage She-Hulk #1, 1979. Had a cover date from 1980. And she is Jennifer Walters, Bruce Banner's cousin. And she acquires her superpowers from an emergency blood transfusion from Bruce Banner. And initially, she transformed like the Hulk. She'd get upset or stuff, but she retained her intelligence and personality, just a little more anger. And later, she transformed at will, and later still, she was stuck in her giant green form. And being a fan favorite, she has long been a source for both laughs and adventures. And of course, there has been a recent She-Hulk TV series on the Disney Plus streaming platform. And being a streaming platform, I have never seen it. But I definitely would like to. And I remember in a sci-fi magazine, they were talking about, back in the 80s, they were talking about a potential She-Hulk movie. And actress Brigitte Nielsen, who was best known for her role as in the very underwhelming Red Sonja movie, and while she was also the former wife of actor Sylvester Stallone, that time she was really pressing for the starring role in that never produced film. But she has appeared on television several times because she was a regular character featured in the Disney animated series Incredible Hulk and the Agents of Smash. So she was one of the Agents of Smash. And she's probably appeared in once in a while in one of the Spider-Man animated series, and probably in one of the Avengers animated series. But I don't know that for sure. I don't remember offhand. So let's take a little look inside here, because I was going to focus on... Oh, I did want to make one mention that she made her appearance right at the height of the popularity of the Incredible Hulk TV series. And that played into her creation, because there had been, remember, if you old enough to recall, the popular TV series The $6 Million Man, and in which they had introduced a female version of him in the form of the Bionic Woman. And of course, the Wonder Woman series had recently been popular. And from what I understand, there had been talk in the writer's room of the Incredible Hulk show, discussions of possibly introducing or a female character, a female version of the Hulk into the show. And Marvel Comics, Stan Lee primarily, heard about that and said, uh-oh, if they create a She-Hulk, a female version of the Hulk, Universal Studios would own that character, not Marvel. So they hurried up and created the She-Hulk to forestall the possibilities of losing any rights to such a character. And they did, and she was very popular. Of course, this is a slightly trade paperback, slightly smaller than your standard comic form, but here has some ads, contents page, and then here we see right here the John Buscema cover for the original Savage She-Hulk #1. Here's She-Hulk Lives, and this is Bruce Banner in L.A. Wanting to get, this is while he was constantly on the run, and goes to see his lawyer cousin, Jennifer Walters, for some potential help. He recounts his origin as the Hulk. She knew nothing about that, did not know that he was the Hulk, and she's driving him to her place and talk about some of the dangers that she is facing, being an assistant district attorney, and on a case because of a case that she is working on. She is the victim of a drive-by shooting, and Bruce Banner gets her to safety, chases off the bad guys while avoiding transforming into the Hulk because he needed to get Jen some help, breaks into a nearby doctor's office, and gives an emergency transfusion of his own blood. He remembers that they had the same blood type, but unaware or unconcerned at the time was the potential effect on her. He was just concerned with saving her life, and some great John Buscema art here. Remember, he did some marvelous Hulk stuff, but the bad guys come back to kill her again when she's in the hospital, and in the process it sparks her transformation, her first transformation into the She-Hulk, and she just goes to town, ripping a lot of property damage, and as getting after the bad guys, catching some of them in the process, and then she runs off and goes back into the hospital, and she transforms back into herself, and that is in brief, the origin of the Savage She-Hulk. Then we went to the sensational She-Hulk under John Byrne, who both wrote and drew it. And this is the period when it was kind of funny, in which she was constantly breaking the fourth wall. That is, she was fully aware that she was a comic book character, and there are a few of the other comic book characters in here too, realized, and that she would make references to such things as, well, here she mentions, even talks directly to John Byrne, the creator, and some of the other characters are aware, and here they even walking straight from one panel to another. It says, "Hey, how'd you do that?" So she is learning how to navigate the comic book world, and this is a fun story, and has in which a character is reintroduced who was a vigilante herself back in the 40s. And so she was a frequent secondary character in the She-Hulk storylines, and then have to have some fighting and a villain, and then walks Stiltman, and of course she quickly takes down Stiltman, and all kinds of silly stuff, because it made She-Hulk funny while still being filled with adventure. Then, here is from King Size Spider-Man Summer Special Number 1. This was from 2021. And it's a humorous storyline. This is not, but it's from Spider-Man, and the main character is Mary Jane Watson. But it happens to have She-Hulk in it. Some kind of cutesy, cartoonish style art with a thoroughly tongue-in-cheek story involving Mary Jane Watson, some other superhero characters, and including Millie the model. And they basically take down the Thor villainess, the Enchantress. And that was a fun story. And here's another slightly tongue-in-cheek fun story from Avenging Spider-Man number 7 from 2015, I think it was, in which She-Hulk and Spidey are teamed up, and they're threatened by some magic in the form of the goddess Bastet, the Egyptian cat goddess. And some kind of weird cult in which She-Hulk sprouts. They're being inundated by cats, and She-Hulk sprouts a a tale. And that is lots of fun. And then it's rounded up with a story from Guardians team up with She-Hulk and Gamora, the two green ladies together. Two of the toughest ladies in the universe. Teaming up together and having a romping good time. And that's all I've got for you this time for the She-Hulk. It's a fun book. Still available in comic stores and undoubtedly online. If you haven't read it, hey, I recommend it. It's a lot, like I said, it's a lot of fun. So please like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. What was your favorite era of She-Hulk? I really liked the Savage She-Hulk, and that I used to have that first issue, and I had several issues of the Savage She-Hulk. Unfortunately, I no longer have them. But be that as it may, remember, even when it's green, comics are art.